Hi, beautiful souls. It's a wild day outside. The wind is absolutely ferocious. It's really agitating all of the elementals, and the elementals are getting really quite disturbed. I'd planned to go for a long cycle ride today, something that I don't normally do. In fact, I've been cycling literally for 2 days, and suddenly it's like, oh, I know this is something that I need to do. This is something that's part of my journey. And so I planned to have a really good cycle ride today, and the wind's wild, the elements are raging. Sun's just actually starting to come out now. And part of me is like, oh, well, I can't go. It's just too wild out there. And then another part of me was like, it's always an opportunity. Sometimes things aren't exactly as we wish them to be. But if we just give up and go, oh, well, this is not quite the right day, before you know it, life can pass you by. There's been so many different challenges that I've experienced over the last few years. And there have been many times that I've felt like giving up and just abandoning things, and pretty much I did give up for a few years. I just went into myself, and although I maintained a sort of like a jolly exterior, there was still a lot of turmoil going on inside. And this is usually the case for a lot of beautiful people out in the world, because most people tend to keep their trauma and anything that's hurt them and provoked them within themselves, because they don't want to reveal their innermost feelings in case they just are not lovable. It's not that they aren't lovable, because of course they are lovable, but in their minds they feel like, oh, am I lovable? Will people still love me if I reveal to them the ugly truth of that I don't love myself enough, or I don't love myself at all, or I just wish to give up and die, or hide in a hole and forget about life. So if you are one of these people that is being challenged, feeling out of sorts, sometimes feeling like, what's the point? Just know you're not alone. You're not alone, and that you're always lovable. Everybody is love. That's the essence of each of us, is love and compassion. The truth of everyone is love. And remember that. Remember it. Know it. Trust it. Believe in it. Say it to yourself in the mirror. Say it to yourself before you go to sleep. I mean, goodness, I can't tell you how many times I give myself hugs. I hug myself quite a lot and say, you know what? I really love you, ZsaZsa. You're all right. You're a good soul. You're doing your best, and you are lovable. You see, sometimes when people have had deep traumas, it can go so deep into the body that it can take a sufficient amount of time to resurface. And the old paradigm is to get all in mixed up and involved in all of the healing, and, you know, that means this and that means the other. And I used to talk about stuff like that as well. But I feel that that's very much old paradigm, and that doesn't actually really help people to move forwards, because then they're just constantly analysing themselves, looking at themselves and seeing where they could have been better or could have done better. And I suggest that we just love ourselves as we are anyway. We love all of our faults. We love everything that we are, and love ourselves in the fact that, you know, when we were little, we were at the mercy of those around us, those in authority, teachers, parents, whatever. And that obviously has a reflection or plays a part on how we grow up. And everybody's just doing their best. So when we forgive everyone and just go, okay, I'm aware that I have some stuff going on, but what if I was to let that go? How would that feel? How would that feel if I was just to let that go? Sometimes we try to control things when we are older, because it makes us think that if we control things, then we will be right, that we all have done the right thing. And this is often what happens when you're brought up in environments that are quite volatile. You try to make the peace, you try to be the best you possibly can, you become sort of like a perfectionist. It's one of my traits that I have to be very careful not to step back into, because I have got those kind of tendencies to be a perfectionist, to be trying to be as best as I possibly can. Now, you can be just on your highest trajectory and your greatest version without trying. When you try to do something, you're being a perfectionist and you're wasting and tiring yourself out and placing yourself in a space where you are de-energizing yourself, because you can't ever meet that need, because it's always going to be something else, always something else, always something else that you have to try and be better at to be lovable. But when you actually just release all of that, surrender to it all, and just go, you know what, I'm lovable, I'm wonderful, I'm great, and I'm on my highest trajectory, and this is the greatest version that I am. Then it's effortless, and it's sweet, and you don't have to try to be anything, and love just flows your way, the right kind of love, the love that is open, compassionate, kind, willing to see a person as their greatest version that they are, because that's the truth of each of us, rather than seeing all of their wounds and everything else. And we all know that everybody has got stuff, everybody comes with something. It's very rare these days to meet somebody that's actually healed and released everything that needs releasing. I mean, it's becoming a lot more apparent these days. There are a lot more people that are very much in tune with fifth dimensional ways of being and existing from. I know a lot of dear ones that reside mostly in the fifth dimension. And I also consider myself to be somebody that resides a fair amount of my day in the fifth dimension. Obviously, sometimes I drop that frequency, and that's normal, because that's what happens when you are attuning with a new frequency, or attuning with a frequency that's higher. And that's also the same, like, you don't just stay in the fifth dimension, we can go up into higher dimensions as well, but maintaining that frequency is quite tricky at the moment, so we do tend to drop back down again. So when you are just loving yourself as you are, not needing to go and get a counsellor, go and get a psychologist, or somebody to go and mix up all your stuff and tell you how in lack you are, or this means that and that means the other, and you need to do this because then you'll heal your inner child. People like this are just constantly doing the work, and they're quite frankly boring, because that's all they talk about. Oh, I'm getting this, oh, I need that because my inner child still needs this, blah blah blah. And I know this because I've done this myself, and it's boring listening to that. What about if we were just to all just love each other right now as we are? Oh, you know what? Everyone is beautiful, everyone is loving, everyone is wonderful. That's the truth of how everybody really is in essence. Okay, some people have some stuff surrounding them, some shells that need to come off. But when you actually really just love somebody as they are, see them in the purity and the innocence of a beloved, pure, playful child, you see them as the best. You don't see them with all of their crap. And that's what children do. They just love. They just love. And when an adult tells them something, then they just stop loving themselves, but they never stop loving that adult, that parent. And isn't that just so peculiar of this world, that there are so many beings that have felt unloved, and yet really the truth is most parents do absolutely adore their children. They don't mean to inflict pain on them. They don't mean to harm them in ways that make them feel that they're not lovable, or they're not loved enough, or they're not perfect enough, they're not wonderful enough. We are all children of God. We are all divine. We are all divine expressions of wonderment and joy and love and peacefulness. And so I suggest to live your life now knowing that you are love. And even if it is wild and windy, do what brings you joy. Do something that uplifts you and lets you know that you're cherished and you're adored. Because when you are feeling cherished and adored, you're doing things that uplift you. You're giving yourself everything that you already are. You're aware of all of your wonderful qualities. You're aware of the love that you are. You're aware that, okay, I want to go for a bike ride. Well, it's a bit windy, so what? Do it, because you know you'll feel good in the doing of it. You know you'll come back and you'll feel rejoicement in your heart. Oh, I did that. It was such a wonderful adventure. So never stop giving yourself opportunities or giving yourself the experiences. Seize the opportunities, give yourself the experiences, and love yourself. Surround yourself by people that really truly love you and see you as your most beautiful essence, the truth and the love that you are. And I send you all love and remind you, do not listen to people that tell you that you are less than. Just keep rising in love, through love, and being the love that you are. Infinite blessings, peace and wonderment. My name is ZsaZsa. Please like, subscribe and share if you feel called to do so. Thank you.